us watching on TV as we conduct the business of Cincinnati schools. I'd like to make a few announcements. First, I hope everyone had a nice, good, long weekend, and I hope parents attended parent-teacher conferences, found those to be valuable and good information. If you weren't able to attend, certainly feel free to contact the team if you'd like to know more about how your child's doing. We have lots of ways to stay informed, including our parent portal, but know that you can always contact the school and set a conference if you weren't able to come. I'd also like to thank volunteers from the community who gave their time to advise our sophomore class on college and career planning during our annual operation preparation recently that we held at Franklin Simpson High School. We appreciate all that our students in thinking about their career choices and how they can make that happen. And I'd also like to give a big shout out to Robin Hollingsworth, our Community Ed Director, for all her hard work in organizing the program. A lot of work to make it run smooth as well. Our next operation preparation event will be held March 13th through 15th at Franklin Simpson Middle School. And if you're interested in volunteering there, you can go to our school website at www.simpson.kyschools.us. Or feel free to contact Robin Hollingsworth at Community Ed at 586-3809. I'd also like to thank those that volunteered at our annual Simpson Elementary Career Day that was held at the beginning of this month. Our students really enjoyed all the professionals who came and spent time with them explaining about their careers and helping open their minds about opportunities their futures might hold. And we really appreciate that, planting some good seeds early on. I'd also like to announce that we'll be holding our 5th annual STEAM Showcase on Tuesday, March 27th at Franklin Simpson High School Gymnasium from 5 to 6:30. The previous showcases have been huge successes, and the event has grown each year. We're excited to see our students showcase their project and/or skills in technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. If you haven't come to this before, you ought to come. It is something else. Also, before the STEAM Showcase, we're going to be hosting Franklin Simpson Chamber of Commerce Business After Hours here at the Simpson County Board of Education central offices from 4 to 5:30. So come on over and visit with us here for Business After Hours, and then head over to the STEAM Showcase, and we'll hope you'll enjoy both events. I'd also like to give some shout outs to some of our Franklin Simpson High School football players: Trey Bass, Kate Harvey, James Baker, Dion Pearson, Sean Woods, and Jack Randolph all made the Associated Press All-State Honorable Mention football team, and Colin Preston, Dion Pearson, James Baker, and Kate Harvey also were named to an All-State Defensive Honorable Mention team. So yes, we'd also like to congratulate our 2018 Franklin Simpson High School basketball homecoming queen, McDermott and Javon Covington. And had a good homecoming week celebration at the high school. It was a lot of fun. I'd like to congratulate the Franklin Simpson Middle School Lady Wildcat basketball team, finished in 3rd place at the Bowling Green Invitational Tournament at the end of January. The team finished a very strong season, so congratulations there, ladies. Also like to send shout outs to the Franklin Simpson Middle School Beta Club. They attended the BetaCon 18 at the beginning of this month and represented Simpson County in great fashion, great Wildcat fashion. Haley Spears, her photograph placed 3rd in the black and white photography contest, and the technology group placed 2nd, and they're all headed to the National Beta Convention later this year. Eliza Cook, Caden Alexander, and McKenna Delp were chosen as premier performers during the opening ceremonies, and they'll also get to participate in the Nationals this summer. The Lincoln Elementary academic and future problem-solving teams won first place at the district competition recently and will advance to the regional competition. And then our Franklin-Simpson High School future problem-solving team won the regional championship. So congratulations there. Good luck in moving on to the next level of competition. We'd also like to congratulate our Spelling Bee winners. This is our second annual Spelling Bee, and Jade Dedman, Alyssa Spears, and Roanne Dedman all placed, with Jade winning first place, and she will head to the Kentucky Derby State Spelling Bee later this school year. I'd also like to congratulate the Franklin-Simpson High School boys basketball team for their district win last night, and best of luck as they advance to the title game. Is that Friday night? And then they'll also be participating in the regional basketball tournament here coming up soon. And then we'd also like to congratulate these student athletes for making college commitments to continue their education careers and to compete in their respective sports. Matthew Crittenden to play baseball at Brescia University, Dee Ragland played basketball at Brescia University, Saul Brady played football at Campbellsville, Deion Pearson, and Caden Newland also played football at Campbellsville, and Stephen Starks played football at Georgetown College. So congratulations there. Just a couple of reminders that...
Awesome. So just to prove how old I am, I'm really going to have to look at these numbers because the eyes have going. I might need to reread this. So I've done a comparison on kindergarten readiness because that's one of our bigger goals at Franklin Elementary. Is to prepare or attempt to prepare the roughly 1,200 students that are not yet kindergarten age that are in our community for getting to kindergarten and to be ready to learn. Last year we had 60% of our students ready per the state test, the REGANS, as ready to enter kindergarten and fully engage in the curriculum and activities that we have. And this year we had 52% that were ready. We do not want that to be our number. However, in looking at our data, we knew of about 170 kids coming into kindergarten. And I mean, we searched those kids out. Stopping at Walmart, we kind of searched them out. We had 46 enrolled that we didn't have any idea where they were from. They weren't on a list anywhere. They had not attended events. Some may have moved or been placed from foster care. But those were the students, by and large, who were not considered ready for kindergarten. And you can see how it has trickled down into the other assessments that we have done over the course of the year. What those assessments still show is we are definitely making progress and gains towards where we want them to be at the end of kindergarten. But when you're able to bring as many in ready as possible, that makes a significant difference. So that is a huge thing that we're working on right now. We have Candy Stolt who works to go recruit those families. We go to events, we go to the library, we do multiple things, mailings, questionnaires to get that information. So as we continue our kindergarten readiness push to find those children, we've stepped up our social media, to be honest, in order to find them. And we have our first Little Cats this week, and hopefully the turnout is indicative of that social media push that we have just started in the last couple months. The next slide, I mean, we can look at the next slide, they go together. Another thing that we're trying to work to do is continue to streamline our progress monitoring and RTI process. And that is so that we know the students that need the interventions the most and get them as far along towards getting ready for first grade as possible in the year that we have them. We have had to change a few things, but in doing so, we have found that we can service more students more effectively in that time frame. In fact, we're getting enough students in that are the ones that need it the most. And then we have also created a safety net so that we can continue to monitor those that might be on the edge of needing those in order to move them in and out of interventions as needed. For those students that are really excelling, we're starting STAR migration for our Tier 1 students. To date, we have 90 of our 216 students that have taken that STAR test, and that is what they will start taking in first grade. And from our data last year, we have found that taking that test in kindergarten almost guarantees that they will be able to get in and work through that test in first grade. So we're pushing as many students as possible that are ready to take that test prior to leaving kindergarten. And that is part of our academic criteria for our K-1. We're really looking at what skills and what measures can indicate kindergarten or first grade readiness once they have moved to Simpson Elementary. We have 2 measures that we know right now are pretty clear. We certainly like more, but getting those apples to apples measures are difficult sometimes. So that's what we've been working on.
Any questions? All right, well, thanks for the update. Keep up the good work. Keep getting them all ready for first grade.
We're doing our best.
All right, thank you. And thanks, students and parents, for coming. We enjoy having you all. Proud of you.
Good job.
Good job. How are you?
How are you?
Any questions? You know how to clear a room?
Talk about high school stuff,
We want to hear it, Mr. Slicer. Thanks for being here.
It's not warm and fuzzy.
It was, I went to parent-teacher conferences on Friday, and it was my very last parent-teacher
Last
conference.
one.
And I want you to know that every teacher I met with that day, even though my child has been there this whole time, they all had something positive to say, and they were excited about her future and excited about teaching at Franklin Simpson High School, without exception. And that made me feel good. I thought I'd share that. Oh, and Miss Houchins cried. That was
They have a great staff. They do a good job. And they have best interest. Just a couple, I'm just going to go through a couple things. First, for our seniors, right now we're at 147 seniors that are CCR, roughly 209. One focus that we've really had this year is on the freshman class, the class of 2021. I'm excited to report. When they in August, when they took their STAR, she mentioned the STAR test. That's kind of what we started doing. And these are whole group numbers. This is all 240 of them. They what I looked at the grade equivalent, when they all take it, what grade equivalency are they on? And they're in like 7.8, which means they're in like 7th grade, 8th month. In 4 months, as a group, they grew 0.5, which is basically half a year in that that time frame. So we were excited about that. Last year's group only grew about 0.2, so this group is actually academically has moved a little bit further. Our sophomores continue to grow as well. Those are the only 2 classes that we test on STAR. They had a 0.1 growth. And then as far as math goes, in the overall, they grew about 0.3 in the sophomore class. The freshman class grew 1.1. They came in at 8.3 and overall went to 9.4. So we're seeing some great gains in math. But those kids, so we're excited about that, but both grades, freshman and sophomore, are showing, pretty substantial growth in the STAR testing. And that's just one measure, I guess you would say, but it is positive to see that growth. And I think I've mentioned this before, our sophomores had our freshmen had the highest ACT composite we've had with the freshman group. Freshman reading intervention, kids that aren't on benchmark. I can tell you, that's the toughest thing to do, to take a 15-year-old that struggles in reading, that's a freshman in high school, that's 15, to figure out ways to make them move. And I'll be honest with you, we've done a little bit of everything. We've done computer programs, we've done a little bit of everything. We took a little bit different approach this year. We're doing a book study. They're in groups of about 10. With about 10, there's 10 teachers that are doing these book studies. And basically, we let the kids choose the book they wanted to read. That was the teacher they went to. And the teachers change it, like some days the teachers read to them, some days the kids read, some days it's individual reading, sometimes they listen to the book on audio, but they work through the book. We had 107 of those students involved, 73% improved on their STAR test, which was roughly about 80 kids of the, only had 27 that kind of stayed the same or maybe dipped a little bit. And then you got to understand about STAR, sometimes that's a motivation factor. They're not too excited about, I want to take this test again, and some kids may dip a little bit. But to have 73% of the 107 that aren't on benchmark, they showed 0.43 growth. They showed about 4 months worth of growth in about 4 months. And that's telling us that they are moving in the right direction. So we're really excited about that. I know discipline's always been a talking point with the class of 2021. And, there's 240 kids in the class, so by PBIS standards, you should average about 2.4 referrals per kid, roughly. 2.4 referrals per day for that number of kids. And that number spiked a little bit early. And we kind of felt like that would happen a little bit about mid-year. But, we started to see that pattern go down. I like to call it the honeymoon. August is the honeymoon period. August and 1st of September, they're a little intimidated. And then as we went through October, November, that's when, October, November to December is a long stretch in there, because there's not, especially once you get after fall break, there's a long stretch there. And it's the same thing happens into January, February, and March before you get to spring break. That's a pretty tough move through there. But if you can see this chart, I just kind of threw this together, but this is the beginning of the year. We saw it spike and we felt like it would. We just kind of knew that would, because they're trying to figure us out and, what do they really mean and how does this really work? But since Christmas, a little bit before Christmas, we've seen that, it's going in the right direction. And that's what we want to happen, is we want to, because we knew going in it was going to be a tough group, but we want to try to change that mindset. And I think we have a little bit. I feel like we've turned the corner with that, and we're seeing those numbers level off and actually kind of go down. So we're excited about that. They're still up. Those numbers are still up from, but there's more of them. We have 240. Typically our classes are about 220, 215, so there's more of them, so that tends to lead you. But we have a pretty strong handle on all the things going on in that class. And like I said, I really felt like at Christmas that we had started to turn the corner, and the data is starting to show us that too. So we're starting to see that. So we're excited about that and what's there as they progress through high school. Last thing I want to talk to you a little bit about some senior stuff and some co-op partnerships that we have, and a new work-based learning type project we've had, and some things I think are going to help open up for us as we move forward. One of the things that we struggle with is, as you know, we have a lot of industry in Simpson County, and they come to me all the time about looking for kids, and the problem is you got to be 18. you know, a lot of kids don't turn 18 till April or May or whatever, so that number of kids to work is kind of tough on being able to put them in factory. But they're starting to figure out, we need to figure out how we can get more kids in there. But we have, in our co-op partnership, we've got 14 businesses in town that are in our community that we have kids currently placed working in co-op that leave at like 11:30, and it's a half a day type program. And they have to be CCR to do that. They have to, be able to co-op, which is Medco, All Season Rental, J&T Stables, Simpson County Tire, Walmart, Auburn Healthcare, RD Industrial, Piggly Wiggly, Evans Farms, Napa, Jimmy Autos Parts, Professional Embryo Services, Advanced Mills Farms, and IGA. That's all of our co-op. And those numbers, those places change from year to year on their needs and demands. But this year, we have started with Vermont Thread Gauge, kind of a co-op slash work-based learning. And we have 5 full-time co-ops at Vermont Thread Gauge right now. And those kids are working 25, 30 hours a week, depending on if they work on the weekends. But they have started a work-based learning program with us. And we have 5 students that go out there like the last period of the day. They're not really co-op, but they're in a position to where they can go. And they're working 15 to 20 hours a week. They work with them if they've got something going on after school. They'll say, hey, because they work 7 days a week, I think, or 6 days a week, you can come in and make your hours up on Saturday. And we have several kids that have really, really enjoyed that. And I think, some will go right straight into the workforce when they leave in there. So that's we also are doing that in Hunt Ford and in the Shell Station. I can't think of the name of it. It's not the Shell Station, but it's the business at Exit 6 out there. They have 2 of our students doing work-based learning out there with them. So, and those partnerships are continuing to grow. I met with Sumitomo Wiring last week, and they're bringing out, we're taking about 20 seniors out there on March 20th to tour their plant. They're looking for engineering interns and kids going to college that are interested in engineering to possibly bring them back in the summer to work, and possibly, they're very interested in the program that Vermont Thread Gauge is doing. They're like, that's, we need to. And the thing I think is neat is all the industry are working together, not really against each other, to try to figure out ways to give these kids opportunities. Because the biggest barrier we've had has been age. When they're 17, they're like, we can't put them on the floor, they're really limiting. So they're trying to find ways to get around that, to employ these kids, that are seniors in high school, go ahead and do this work-based learning. So that's kind of exciting that we've been able to do that. And expand those programs.
And, the state has that one insurance program where they can cover their liability. Are any of them open to that, or?
I think so.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing
under 18 people
is they just want to make sure that their insurance covers their.
Right. That's always been our barrier.
They're not worried about like, they say they cover them. They're like, we want to make sure that our insurance will help us with that. But like I said, Vermont Thread Gauge has 10 seniors employed out there right now, on a part-time basis, and so, and it's good, it's good to, I think we'll expand that program and help those kids.
I'll tell you what, if we can ever figure out how to overcome those barriers, that could really open the door for a lot of kids. And so that's really exciting.
It is.
So good work.
Thank you. Any questions?
Very good.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schlosser. Y'all keep up the good work.
All right. Sit in the back.
Next is visitors' comments. Superintendent staff report.
Okay, keep the board and the community up to date on various things. We have many of our reports that are pretty standard reports. We have our ADA attendance and dropout reports. Joey's here if you got any questions.
I know there's 2 kids that was really close to it, that's correctly, but they dropped out. Is there any hopes for those kids?
If we can get in contact with them, and that's the key. So yes, we can still work out a plan with them, but some of these kids, they're not responding to our efforts to reach out to them, try to contact them, but yeah, that's still a possibility. And there'll be continued follow-up with them to try to bring them back.
Well, sometimes we can get them back, but after a little hiatus, especially when they kind of realize what the road is like out there. But,
How's our attendance do looking? Are we close, far away, 95, magic number?
We're around 93% right now, and on a daily basis.
Blue season's almost over.
That's what they say, maybe
I hope.
4 or 5 more weeks, but I think that I think we're past the peak of it here in our area anyways, you know. Our worst time was a few weeks ago, so, you know, we were down around 88, 89, 90% for a while, but we've been back up to 93% for a pretty good time now. So it's below where we want to be, but for this time of year, it's not way off.
It's been a tough year for that, but it's been a tough year, and I think statewide and I think nationwide. It's been a challenging year on attendance, so I hope everybody gets well. And I was at one of the schools today, and they were telling me about one of ours in the hospital right now with pneumonia and flu. And it's a dangerous thing, so certainly if they're sick, we need them to get the treatment that they need. The next report's our personnel report. Dr. Patrick here, any questions there? We have our out-of-district student trips, out-of-district staff administrative travel reports, then our series of financial reports, daycare, food service, athletics, our vendor report, our reconciliation and construction reconciliation, and our visa charge report. Amanda Luis is here. Questions there? The next is a review of our proposed calendar. Joey's been working with our calendar committee, and we also, did extensive surveying of our school community. And Joey, any comments there?
We've got a few standards and some pretty consistent things that we've established within our calendar, and for the most part, when we survey people, we kind of want to continue with those basic parameters of the schedule. One thing that, or of the calendar, so one thing that did get a little bit closer this time was the first day of school, and I think we get about 3 options. Is, the first or the second Wednesday in August, the first Wednesday in August, or the Wednesday of the second full week. For this year, the Wednesday of the second full week gained some momentum. Now next year, those two will be the same. Right, so some years that's the exact same thing, but years like this, when we have that early start of August 8th, it's different. So this is one of the years where it's different, and this is as far away as it gets, and that's probably why this year we did see more. Another thing that we had some debate, discussion, and a closer vote on was Christmas break. It's where it's a really long one if you end on that Friday. But majority of the staff, I want to say it was maybe 8 or 10% margin that said we would prefer to go ahead and take the longer break and add those 2 days to the end of the year. And I will say on that, some of our high school counselors, they said, okay, everybody understands you don't really know when the last day of school is going to be, but they're like, we don't want it to be any earlier than this because of AP testing. Is that what? Yeah. So that kind of works out for them too. So again, I think at the end of the day, we'll go to school 170 days. Whenever they are, we'll have 185 teacher contract days. And if this is, what people, is what the most people want, I'm happy with it. I think it serves our purpose and provides for a good calendar that meets all the requirements of KRS. So. Any questions? So under the new legislation, obviously it has to be presented one time, and then we can vote on it at the next meeting. So.
Any questions from the board? The next report is our review of the nutritional and physical activity report. Sarah Richardson kind of led that development. As you know, are seeing good results from our free breakfast and lunch programs, participation there. Any questions there? Then you have a report, just an update of our current insurance program coverages. Todd Moody and his team at Franklin Insurance will be working on renewals and renewal options, but wanted to give you just an update on what we currently have. And then we have reading and math intervention mid-year progress report. Shalene Smith is here. Looked pretty positive overall, Shalene. So.
It did.
Yeah, and we talked about that at today's site visit with Franklin Elementary about, how pleased we were with the reading scores, which they do typically very well with that. But they're even starting to take the STAR reading test, which is much more difficult for them, something that they haven't really tried in the past as much in just small segments, maybe 4 to 5 kids. Now we're testing 80 to 100 kids on that, and just continuing to raise the bar there. And then they also reported their math, which is off the Ames web, which that looked really good, I felt like, because in the past we've kind of just taken a little portion of the STAR early literacy, which is like 6 questions, and I just don't think that was giving us a really good measure. And this test, they have to individually benchmark those kiddos, and again, it's what Simpson's doing. So again, it's just all feeding together. So we did, you could see, had a little bit of a drop in the 4th grade math, but again, the tier 1 went up. It's just, we had about, I think we said, maybe 4 students that slid back from tier 2 to tier 3 and met with those 4th grade teachers just to talk about some of the flexible grouping and some things that they could do with those kiddos. So still looking for ways to improve it. And I think Mr. Swasser kind of indicated that we definitely have some work to do with the reading with the middle school and kind of getting those kids more motivated to take the STAR and try their very best. I think in the elementaries, they've kind of learned that this will affect the flexible grouping and some other things, and they really go in there and kind of knock it out of the park. And our middle school, we've just got to ramp that up a little bit more.
Any questions from the board?
No, I thought this one looked good.
I'm pretty pleased with it. We're also looking at some, that we've been kind of exploring some other kinds of assessments to help with the benchmarking. And, we do some learning checks in our schools. Some of our schools are using common assessments. And whereas the STAR is pretty much an adaptive kind of norm reference test, it's all multiple choice. Some of these options we're looking at would include constructive response writing, and those kinds of things that I'm interested in, because I think that's really what's going to take us to the next level. I know you all talk about, we're really good, but we're going to try to notch it up to the next level. So we're looking at some things still in this, but this was a good, positive report, probably one of our best. So we want to keep that momentum going. So thank you, Shalene. The last report is our equity report. Of course, you all got to see this at our annual joint meeting of the school board and all of our site-based decision-making councils. And this is our second annual equity report where we're really kind of looking at benchmarking. How are our kids doing, including all of the kids in kind of targeted groups that we want to make sure are progressing. And at our joint meeting, as you all remember, we talked about the excellence gap and how we want to make sure that kids are moving, and particularly our high performing advanced learners who enter the school system, even if they're in a targeted group, that they continue to progress and progress at the same rate as the majority group peers. And so we're doing well in this, but we still have work to do, as you can see. We're probably doing better than average, but we want to keep our eye on the prize. And we wanted to present this, so the community can see this. Of course, you can access these reports on our website. And if you go to our board section and our board meeting section, and
So it's good information, and wanted to make sure we presented that board meeting too. So, any questions, comments on any of the reports? All right, thank you.
Next item is the consent agenda. Motion. Who said second?
Nancy.
Any discussion on any of these items? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is the action items, and the first one is a request to renew an audit contract with Stiles Carter and Associates for 2017-2018 school year. Jennifer, discussion on this item.
You've got a proposal there from Brian Woosley with Stiles Carter and Associates. They've done good work for us. They've been good to work with. They give us good advice and feedback. So we'll recommend we continue. You can see they've got an hourly rate, but not to exceed $18,750, which is the same as prior audit costs. So. And Amanda's here if you have any questions.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The next is a request to approve the tentative 2018-19 staffing policy for the SBDM application.
Motion.
Discussion on this item.
Well, as you all know, that state statute requires us to provide our site-based decision-making councils with a tentative allocation by March 1. It's always a little challenging because we don't know what the state budget is going to be on budget years like this. And as you all know, Governor Bevin presented a proposed budget that was would be very, very challenging for school districts. You know, we would see major cuts in transportation funding. We would see major cost shifts on health insurance that we would have to pay for, that we don't currently have to fund. There's some major cost increases in our classified employee retirement system costs that could be coming. And then he was going to cut all the funding for textbooks and instructional materials, all of the funding for professional development, community ed, and some other programs. But those are kind of noteworthy in terms of our work. So the transportation cut, just in and of it by itself, would total over $550,000. The classified employee retirement system increase would be about $370,000. The health insurance requirement in his proposal would cost us about $270,000. And so those are the big ticket items, not to mention, you know, the other ones I mentioned. So not knowing what that's going to look like, we prepared an tentative allocation that provides kind of the worst case scenario. We think for our council allocations, and then our hope that if the budget's better, that we can keep all of our formulas as they're currently designed and executed. And one of the things that's kept us in good financial shape as a district, as you all know, is that we've been disciplined when it comes to following our funding formulas for our council allocations, which is one of our largest expenditures that we make as a board team. So we have it, you know, kind of both ways. This way, our principals and site-based councils can kind of prepare for maybe the worst case scenario, but we can hope for the best. And by April, we should know what the state budget is, and then those final allocations are due to councils by May 1st. This is the strategy we want to employ, and we think it kind of allows our schools to prepare, you know, if it's not as good, but if it's you know, if it's better than it looks with the governor's proposal, I would certainly like to keep our funding formula as it is now. So, questions?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. Next is request to approve 2018-19 KISS participation resolution for bus sales. Second by Jennifer, discussion on this item.
You all, I guess, I don't know for how many years now, we have used the KISTA program for selling our buses. We've gotten the best results out of that. We've tried over the years a lot of different options, but that one seems to work best for us. And so we're recommending that the board approve the necessary resolutions and forms so that we can utilize that state vehicle for selling our surplus buses.
Question, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is approve the amended pilot agreement with Franklin Simpson Industrial Authority and the Sumitomo Electric Building System.
Motion. Second.
Any discussion on this item?
You got a copy of the amended pilot agreement. I think it's fairly minor changes there, so we'll recommend that you approve as presented. And of course, this will give us a payment in lieu of taxes, so that the schools aren't losing that funding in the agreement they have with the city and the industrial authority and the county for Sumitomo's system. And I was excited to hear Tim say they were going to want to partner with us on some co-op and apprenticeships out there. So hopefully that'll develop.
Question, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is a request to approve the amended interlocal cooperation agreement for Fritz Winter Project.
Motion. Second.
Nancy, any discussion on this item?
You have a copy of this agreement in your materials, and we're excited to have Fritz Winter in the community, and this kind of details some of the agreements that when we did that project, the property taxes were waived, but in lieu of that, the city's going to, once all the expenses are paid, for the site work and the pad ready work, they're going to split all the occupational receipts with us. So we'll have some revenue there from that project. So we really appreciate the city offering that and being, all the people being concerned and making sure that the schools get some good funding as a result of this. So hopefully we'll have more families moving in, and we'll need that revenue to help provide services needed to keep a top-notch school system.
Question, comment?
Have they expressed any interest in offering like an apprentice program, or is it still too early?
I think it's been too
I
early.
think it's a little too early. I think they're just trying to, and Sumitomo's kind of the same boat. They're only employing like 30 right now. They said in the next 18 months, they'll be up to about 140. So they're just trying to, I think that Fritz is the same. They talk, but they're like, it's not time yet. We're just trying to get everything finished to get open. So
The good thing with them is, being a German company, kind of the apprentice approach to education is something they're accustomed to. So I'm hopeful. So we'll just keep that on the radar screen for sure.
Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is a request to approve the School Facility Construction Commission CAT's offer of assistance.
motion. Second.
Nancy,
Well, this is a long time coming, I'd say, but we finally got it. Each year, we budget the match required to receive this and utilize it. And so they
sent us our first and second offers in the amount of $42,616, and we had adequate money budgeted to match that, to be used to advance our technology needs in the district. So Scott Purdue and his team will work with schools to utilize that to its best return on investment, to ask for approve of the offer of assistance.
Yes. All in favor? Opposed? Motion to adjourn.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?